The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it is Wednesday in the Riv, and an exciting Wednesday it is. We had a big press conference today where mayoral candidate Cliff Pott announced his first 100-day plan. And so they can't say he didn't say what he's going to do, because now he has. And I guess our mayor is opened up a cooling center. I'm surprised.
Yes.
That's another achievement for his list. We opened up a cooling center at City Hall. Okay. And the lieutenant governor is supposed to be down here, right?
She was down here at 9 o'clock this morning, and she was here for the groundbreaking of the new city pier. I don't know what they were breaking ground for. I mean, it was to put up rails. I spoke with a city councilor, and they said that's to put up rails and lights. I don't know what they're talking about a groundbreaking for, unless there's something we had no idea about.
CJ, come on. It's an election cycle. They gotta have some press. They gotta get some press and get their puss in the paper. If they were opening an envelope,
I know.
They might have coverage, I mean, come on.
Well, I was a little, as I think I mentioned on Monday's show, I'm not sure if I did or not, but I'm going to mention it now. I was very disappointed in the mayor, the interim school superintendent, or whoever it was that scheduled the open house for Durfee to be on 9/11 at 9 in the morning. Wow. Do you remember what time the plane hit the first tower? I believe that was 8:49.
Yeah, the first one.
The first one was 9:02.
9:02, yeah.
Okay, so almost 20 years to the hour. Almost 20 years to the hour. They scheduled an open house from 9 to 11 or 9 to 12 at the new Durfee High School. Out of disrespect, the mayor is disrespecting the families that have survived this horror show. He's disrespecting the over 3,000 police, fire, EMS, and citizens that died in this terrorist attack. He's disrespecting them.
Yeah.
And if they allow this to go forward on 9/11, this shows you how much this mayor appreciates police, fire, EMS, and military. He doesn't. Yeah, if he lets this go forward. He doesn't. Yeah.
Well, I guess we can call him Mini Joe now. We had Mini Me, now we got Mini Joe. Biden is crapping all over the United States, disrespecting the military, leaving Americans behind, taking our troops out under the cover of darkness, and then leaving all our weaponry to make the Taliban the third or fourth best armed military in the world. And then he's lying about it. He's lying about it. And he doesn't care about civilians. And then some idiot, one of his knucklehead generals, said that they don't want to lose any more soldiers. Well, guess what? The soldiers and sailors and airmen and Marines all were willing to make that sacrifice because they joined. We have an all-volunteer military. And they want to go outside the wire. They got the 82nd Airborne Division, which I'm very familiar with. They were right up the street from Special Forces. We used to run by them every morning when we did our 5-mile run in the morning up Bragg Boulevard. They were going one way, we were going the other. We could see who could sing louder and turn around and come back and do it all over again. We got back to our area. And, Marine Expeditionary Force, sad commentary when the French military is going outside the wire to save their civilians. Those men want to go out. Those paratroopers are all volunteers. Every Marine is every volunteer. All those people are volunteers. They made that great commitment. That's why veterans have to be respected. But they're not. This president is crapping all over them. Now we got a mayor. 343 firefighters died on 9/11. 343. I was in New York City on the 10th. I was back on duty the 11th, and they came to get me in my office. I was doing morning reports when the first plane hit. And I spent the rest of the day watching the coverage. And to be so oblivious to a date like that, the greatest tragedy that the United States has ever faced. Like you said, over 3,000 civilians, police, fire, EMS. It's just, I can't, I don't have the words. We get taken off the air if I could say what I really wanted to say, because, you know, this is just absolutely outrageous, you know, and in the face of the fact that these school departments are being crucified throughout the state, they want to treat some areas, they want to teach critical race theory, others want to put, you know, then there's a big mass controversy. And a lot of people are beginning to think that they only care about themselves. And guess what? I don't think he was in the military. And if he was, shame on him. But I don't think he was. And it shows. And I mean, the sacrifice. You don't have to be in the military to know what 9/11 stands for. And the families of those over 3,000 victims. I mean, that's when you have the damn memorials to 9/11. I ran the first memorial to 9/11 the following year at Kennedy Park. And what did we do? We were there at 8:49. We recognized the moment. We again recognized 9/02. We recognize the sacrifice. There used to be, then there was that memorial, and there was one at the battleship for a while. Is the city not having a 9/11 memorial this year? And if they are, shame on this city. And if they are having it, shame on our mayor for not be standing at that memorial, not walking around and politicking in the school. Sorry, there are plenty of days to walk around the school.
You know, I called the superintendent's office, and I expressed my disgust, and that's exactly what I'm going to call it, disgust of what's happening. And I made it very clear that this should not happen, and that it is disrespectful to the families. It is disrespectful to public safety. It is disrespectful to the people who died on 9/11.
Yeah.
And I was told, we will take your comments into consideration, and the superintendent will call you back. I'm going to give you the superintendent's phone number. Call the superintendent's office if you're disgusted with a 9/11 open house at Durfee. Her number is 508-675-8420, extension 53800. Once again, 508-675-8420, extension 53800. Call her office and let her know how disgusted you are with having a celebration, because that open house is a celebration on the day of the biggest trauma, the biggest attack, the only terror attack that large in the United States on sovereign land. That's what happened. And you gotta voice your opinion, because it's obvious these politicians and appointees don't care what the public has to say.
Jesus. I mean, you know, CJ, the point you made earlier, It's bad enough if they had those things in the afternoon. That day should be a solemn day of remembrance. The entire day should be dedicated to the lives lost. And we may have more of those again with what our dimwit president is doing over there and emboldening Al Qaeda, ISIS, and the Taliban, or as he says, the Taliban. But to schedule those things to begin at basically the exact time the second plane hit, it's like, you know, how far does your head have to be up your derriere? I mean, you don't, when you look at the date, you go, 9/11, let me think. It just goes to show, you know, when people say, we remember the sacrifices made by the soldiers, by our military. They don't. They remember it on Veterans Day, and they'll all pretend. All the politicians will go out and lay wreaths on the monuments of our heroes that gave, you know, the last measure of their life fighting for this country. It's a photo op, just like police funerals and fire funerals, where politicians who vote against appropriations for these public safety things are the first ones in line to march in front of the procession. And that always irritated me. But this is outrageous. This is just outrageous because, you know, he wants to go run around the school and say, hey, I did this. I was the point man for this. He's not going to finish the sentence and say, I was also for the debt override, which is coming, you know, as we're trying to find money everywhere. But you're right. It's disgusting. It's deplorable, and shame on everybody in the city government who didn't recognize this.
That's ignorance. That's ignorance.
Not ignorance.
Yeah, it is.
That's just a callous disregard for this city and for this nation, and for that greatest tragedy ever suffered on United States soil.
Who are they? I mean, really, who are they? Cuomo? I mean, that's all I can say. Cuomo? It's unbelievable. So, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to do. I really don't know what to do.
You're doing exactly the right thing. You're being outraged.
Yeah,
let's hope there are a lot of other people that are outraged, because they should be.
Right.
Because you're disrespecting all those families that are grieving the 20th. And this is like a historic one.
It is.
This is like 20 years.
This happened in our lifetime.
You know, 20 years. It's been, you know, 2 decades. This marks the second decade since that occurred. And the irony is we're facing more of this because of what Biden's doing in Afghanistan. Because now the Taliban and the Al Qaeda, they're loose. They're going to be coming. They're going to be looking to make 9/11, you know, a regular thing. And they've even admitted it. They've heightened the security warnings in the United States because of the terrorist activity they're anticipating. And Fall River, the mayor of Fall River chooses to skip 9/11 to give tours. Disgraceful. Yeah. Disgraceful.
Well, you know, and the worst part about it is very soon, I shouldn't say very soon, already, we have students that have graduated high school when 9/11 occurred. And we have a whole range of students today, from K right through senior, right through the 12th grade, that were not around when 9/11 occurred. And this is how we're teaching the history to our students.
Yeah, you're true.
This is the educational system that we have in Fall River. This is the educational system that you pay for.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing how oblivious they probably don't watch anything, except left-wing politics. Because if you remember, if you've watched any news coverage, they actually talked about 9/11 when they were talking about what's happening in Afghanistan.
Yes, they did.
When they were showing the pictures of those people 2,000 feet in the air trying to hang on to an airplane falling to their death. And they had little circles around them as they were plummeting to their death. More than one news commentator said, this makes us go back to 9/11 when people were jumping out of the windows of the high-rise of the Twin Towers to avoid being burnt to death.
Right.
They would rather jump to their death than be incinerated by that Holocaust. And this is what we forgot. Some kid that was born 15 years ago and is a freshman in high school, you can say, well, maybe it's not even a remote thought. It's up to us to teach them. It's up to teach them our history, not critical race theory, the history. This was one of the darkest days that the United States ever faced. And 20 years later, we got a government that's just, and that's the time normally all these memorial services are conducted, because they coincide with the attack. That's why you have them. That's why they're structured that way. And that's when they start. This is just, I can't even. I'm so pissed off. I can't even talk. I'm telling you.
I hear you. Believe me, it's disgusting, and that's why I think we need. And if you want to call the mayor's office and express your dissatisfaction for his ignorance, call him at 508-324-2600. Let him know how you feel. Okay? Maybe you won't call. Maybe you will. Maybe you don't want to ruffle the feathers of anybody. But you know what? Somebody's got to ruffle their feathers. Somebody's got to make it clear. Because if I'm the only voice, guess what? They don't listen.
That's right. And you know the old adage, if you don't learn from your history, you're doomed to repeat it. That's why we
may do it.
And exactly. And now what Biden's doing, we may have a repetition. So let's see. America pulled together after 9/11. There was no talk about differences of anything. We were all Americans united to go after the terrorists who were responsible for that attack.
I mean, and you could see the patriotism after 9/11.
Yeah.
A great number of people enlisted in the military. A great number of people started volunteering for various civic organizations and community organizations.
Yeah.
People were taking their communities to heart. They were taking their rights to heart. They wanted people to know that they cared. Okay? And those people who enlisted in the military did it quietly. They didn't do it under fanfare. They didn't do it under, lights and spotlights and everything else. They went to their local recruiter and said, I want in. And they got in.
No, you're right. And it wasn't about, there was no consideration for money, no consideration for status, no consideration for anything except the nation.
Right.
And it was like, I think it was Tillman. I think his name was Tillman. An NFL football player left a lucrative career playing in a National Football League to enlist, and he was killed in action. And other people left lucrative jobs to go into the military to fight for our nation because of what was done to us as a nation. And many of them came back with limbs missing and body parts and legs and eyes. And we have some congressmen now that have got a coalition together, the Coalition of Veterans. that are outraged at what's being on a federal level, but it's time for us to be outraged in Fall River. We can't remember. We can't remember this. Let's hope that this doesn't happen again because of the actions of our president. And let's also remember that we should not be running school tours on the 20th anniversary or any anniversary of 9/11. 9/11 should remain a day that America always respects and honors.
Yes, they should. That should be a day, you know, when we were attacked on December 7th, 1941, it was said, a day that will live in infamy. I think another day that lives in this country's infamy is September 11th, 2001.
That's right. That's right. And you know, the just as December 7th, and you know, I had the honor of going to the memorial in Pearl Harbor and seeing, you know, where the attack took place, and there, the Arizona's still down there with many of its crew entombed at that memorial. And then above it is the Punch Bowl Cemetery. So if you ever get to Hawaii, don't just go to the Pearl Harbor. Take a ride up to the top of the hill in the Punch Bowl Cemetery where our dead from the Pacific Theater of Operation, many of them are entombed, and numerous Medal of Honor winners. So, you got to remember these sacrifices. And like I said, this is just, I can't believe it. You know, when you told me this, I just can't believe this. This is, nobody gives a crap about anything. They want to erase history. And I guess, we're going to erase 9/11 in this city. Not in my eyes, I can tell you.
Not in mine.
I ran the year after, and I ran numerous ones while I was still an active firefighter, and went to the rest. Because we did it every 9/11, and there was always something. And I'm sure there's something, and I don't see it publicized. But if there isn't, shame on the city, as I said. And if there is, and the mayor's not standing there alongside of our first responders and our people, shame on him.
I agree wholeheartedly. I'm checking right now to see if there is any special events scheduled for 9/11. And at this point, I don't see anything. Nope, I don't see anything at all. Oh, wait, hold on a minute. Right of reflection, September 11th. Yes, 10 a.m. at Battleship Cove. 10 a.m., the same time the mayor's having his open house. The same time.
Wow.
They're calling it the Right of Reflection. And it looks like the Fall River Fire Department's going to be there. The Honor Guard.
Yeah, we used to run our own at the time of the initial crash, but there is something.
Right.
There is something. But so maybe now the mayor loves to do things and make conflicts with anything. Maybe the mayor will get his head out from where the sun doesn't shine and go down there and be part of that ceremony. And I can guarantee you, he would have been walking around. If he does, I can guarantee you, if we didn't call him out, he would have been walking around a school saying, I did this. I did this. I was the point man. I did this. So, because it's an election year. So guess what? There's no coming back from this scheduling. He worked in the school department his entire life. He was responsible for getting this superintendent. And shame on the superintendent, shame on him, shame on anything. I guess September 11th to them is just, from now on, it's not going to be the most catastrophic event that ever happened to American civilians.
Well, in fairness to the superintendent,
we can say that this is going to be the day that we ran tours of our new school.
Right. In fairness to the superintendent, I spoke with Paula in the superintendent's office, and she said she was not aware if the superintendent knew about the date and time of the open house. I found that a little hard to believe, but I'll give her the benefit of the doubt because that was probably scheduled by the building committee, which I've been told, and I can't confirm or deny, that Matt Malone is still part of that building committee.
Yeah, he loves to remind everybody he's a former Marine. So he's not he doesn't remember this. Well, listen, if the superintendent doesn't know about this, we already, with the new superintendent, have established the fact that there's no communication, again, in another city department. You don't think the person who runs the school department should be aware of when they're running a tour of the new Durfee High School? You don't think that should have been brought to her attention? So either way, this is a catch-22. If she wasn't informed, it shows that that there's still no communication, like there is in all these departments that we see because of lack of leadership. You think if she got in there, she'd say, well, you better inform me about what's going on throughout the school because I'm running it. And something this important, you don't think she was informed? She can say she wasn't, but I'll tell you what, if she wasn't, now you got a new problem to address.
That's right.
Your subordinates are not keeping you in the loop. And if you were aware of it, join the mayor in shaming yourself.
We're damned if we do and damned if we don't. And that's always the problem in Fall River. We wait until the last minute and then we say, oh, woe is me. Just remember Dominion. Just remember Dominion. You know?
Yep, that's it. And like I said, this is just incredible.
Yeah. Well, I was pleased to hear that FRC Media, our hosts, was down at Cliff Ponte's press conference with this 100-day plan. It's nice to know that they're going to be following all the candidates, not just one. They're following all of them. Any press conferences they have about their campaigns, about where they're going, about everything, they're going to follow them. And I want to thank Keith Tebow and Steve Reese and Michelle Dumas and everyone who's part of the team that makes that happen, because that keeps our voters informed. And that's the important part, is keeping the voter informed. And I think we can't say that enough.
Yeah, and I'm sure that they're gonna cover the memorial at the battleship on the 20th anniversary, but I guess they'll get a camera walking around the high school too, I guess, to cover that. But hopefully they're going to cover the real important event, and I'm sure they will, because that day, the significance of that day will never be a free tour of Durfee High School for the politically connected.
Oh, true. And again, what's the tour going to be? Of finished classrooms? Isn't school open by that time? Aren't the kids supposed to be in that building already? I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I saw somebody post a picture today of the fact that they have a child who started at Durfee today. I guess it's freshman orientation. And they took a picture of them outside the old Durfee. So are we going to transition them over? I don't know what we're going to do. But, well, that's the end of our show. I'm sorry it was all based upon one topic, but I think that topic is extremely important. And I would like all our viewers to call in to the superintendent and to the mayor's office and let them know that this is disgusting and that this is totally disrespectful. I want to thank you for viewing. Thank you for inviting us into your home. This half hour is always a privilege for us. Stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.